Hello everyone, I am JB and Dr. Mohammad Miraj Alam, Assistant Professor of Economics, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. In this section of video, I will discuss about the some of the component and points which will which will discuss and talk about the assessment of uh, economic reforms in India. In the previous video, I have discussed some of the point. Later, I will discuss remaining points. I will discuss particularly in this video. This is the part of Indian economy, a paper which taught at second semester in a BA B.Ed program. Okay, now let's start the point on which the assessment have been discussed, right? The next point is the growth and the employment. Though the GDP growth rate has increased in the reform period, scholars pointed out that the reform-led growth has not generated sufficient employment opportunities in the country. Right. As we all are aware about that, India is a country with huge population, right? Huge population with working population. Most of the Indian population are working population who needs employment generation at who needs employment at any cost. Otherwise, the a huge population will turn into uh, uh, population problem or a burden for the country. Uh, so in this case or in that way, the job of the policymakers, the job of the economist to find out the way to absorb all the working population in the gainful unemployment. Otherwise, the working population turn into the burden for the country, right? The growth which India has attained during the reform period was good, but it was not sufficient enough to generate the gainful employment for the Indian youth. So the growth rate of India was always questioned by different quarter in the media, questioned in the different quarters of media and policymakers and others as well, and discussing about the jobless growth and term it as a jobless growth. Right. That was the on the job front, the pre-reform period was not satisfactory. It was good, but not satisfactory as we are expecting from the growth reform. As we all know that India historically suffered from the unemployment problem. It was the high expectation of the people and the policymakers that a economic reform will create so much job opportunities in India, but it was not as much as it should be as people were expecting from the reforms. Okay, now come to the reforms in the agriculture, right? As we all know that India is a country, is a villages where, according to 2011 census population, according to 2011 census, 69% population are still living in the rural areas. And in the rural areas, the main occupation of the rural areas in India are the agriculture and allied activities. So the development of the agriculture sector is the most important. Otherwise, India will remain a backward country because most of the population are still dependent on the agriculture sector. Right. Reforms have not been able to benefit agriculture. As I discussed in my previous video, in which I have shown you a figure table where the growth rate of agriculture had declined in the over the period of time during the reform period. Right. That's why reforms has not been able to benefit the agriculture, whether the growth rate has been decelerating. Public investment in agriculture sector, especially in infrastructure, which includes irrigation, power, roads, market linkage, and research and extension, which played a crucial role in green revolution, has fallen in the reform period. This is the demerit of the reforms. One way we are reforming our economy to make good investment. We are expecting that reforms in the country we pave the way for the greater investment in the especially in the infrastructure. But when we're talking about the agriculture, the reform period is not give the right signal during the reform period, right? The requirement of infrastructure which agriculture usually used, such as the power, irrigation, roads, market, and extension research, which played the crucial role in the development of agriculture in India, were registered a fallen investment. Investment fall in this particular sector in the reform period because government too much focus to the privatization and the liberalization, but sectors which needs a government support were not supported as much as it should be. That's why the agriculture sector during the reform period shown the decreasing trend, right? Uh, Okay, so this was the case in the agriculture sector. Further, the removal of fertilizer subsidy has led to increase in the cost of production. Right, Indian farming system are based on the subsidies. Earlier, diesels and kerosene were given to the farmers on the subsidies prices. Fertilizers, urea, potash, and the required pesticides were also given to the farmers on the subsidized rate, but the subsidy have been removed slowly during the reform period, which was also uh, uh, which was also make unprofitable for the farmers. That's why the growth of agriculture has hampered, which has severely affected the small and the marginal farmers especially. This sector has been experiencing a number of policy changes such as reduction in import duties on agriculture products, removal of minimum support price, and lifting of quantitative restrictions on agriculture products. These have adversely affected Indian farmers as they now have to face increased international competition. Okay, this moreover, because of the export-oriented policy strategies in agriculture, there has been a shift from production for the domestic market towards production for the export market, focusing on the cash crops in lieu of the production of grains. This puts pressure on the prices of food grains. So it's all. This was the all about the agriculture sector in the uh, during the reform period. Now, come to the next point, that is the reforms in industry. Industrial growth has also recovered as industrial growth has also recovered, recorded a slow down during the reforms. Industrial growth also recorded a slowdown, especially in the reform period. This is because of decreasing demand of industrial product due to various reasons, such as cheaper imports, inadequate investment in the infrastructure. In globalized world, developing countries are compelled to open up their economy to greater flow of goods and capital form of developed countries from developed countries and rendering their industries vulnerable to imported goods. Okay, so this was the case for the industrial product. When you are going to open your economy, the your economy faced a lots of competitive from the imported items. As we all know that Indian product were not the world level product. When during the reform period, Indian economy opened and so much foreign companies have been invested and imports have been come to the India. The product imported product were more sophisticated, more strong as compared to India. That's why Indian industries further going to zone their product down. That's why the growth rate of Indian industry was not good at the during the reform period. Okay, and the second point is this: the investment in the infrastructure are also slow down during the reform period. Okay, cheaper imports have thus replaced the demand for domestic goods. Domestic manufacturers are facing competition from imports. The infrastructure facilities, including power supply, have remained inadequate due to lack of investment. Okay, globalization is thus often seen as a creating condition for the free movement of goods and services from foreign countries. that adversely affect the local industries and employment opportunities in developing countries. Moreover, a developing country like India still does not have the access to developed countries' markets because of high non-tariff barriers. For example, although all quota restrictions of exports of textile and clothing have been removed in India, USA has not removed their quota restrictions on import of textile from India and China. Now, come to the disinvestment part, right? Every year, the government fixes a target of disinvestment of PSEs, public sector enterprises. For instance, in 1991-92, it was targeted to mobilize 2,500 crore through disinvestment. I have already discussed a lot about the disinvestment. The government was able to mobilize 3,040 crore more than the targets from the disinvestment. In 2013 and 14, the target was about 56,000 crore, whereas the achievement was about 26,000 crore. Critics pointed out that the asset of PSCs, public sector enterprises, have been undervalued and sold to private sectors. This means that there has been a substantial loss to the government. Okay. Moreover, the proceeds from disinvestment were used to offset the shortage of government revenues rather than using it from the development of PSCs and building social infrastructure in the country. Do you think selling a part of the properties of the government companies is the best way to improve efficiency? Uh, I think this is the part of discussion. Think over it. Now come to the reforms and fiscal policies which were during the reform periods. Economic reform have placed limits on the growth of public expenditure, especially in social sectors. The tax reduction in the reform period aimed at yielding larger revenue and to curb tax evasions resulted in the have not resulted in increase in tax revenues for the government. Also, the reform policies involving tariff reduction have curtailed in the scope of raising revenue through custom duties. In order to attract a foreign investment, tax incentives were provided to foreign investment investors, which further reduced the scope for raising tax revenues. This has a negative impact on developmental and welfare expenditure. Right. Uh, this was the fiscal policies and reforms. So, at this point, you can assessment the reform periods in India. Okay. Now, the process of globalization through the liberalization. ठीक, the process of globalization through liberalization and privatization policies have produced positive as well as negative results, both for India and other countries. Okay. Some scholars argue that globalization should be seen as the opportunity in terms of greater access to the global market, high technology, increased possibility of large industries of developing country to become important players in the international arena. Okay. Uh, on the contrary, the critics argue that globalization is a strategy of the developed countries to expand their market in other countries. According to them, it has compromised the welfare and identity of the people belonging to the poor countries. It has further been pointed out that market driven globalization has widened the economic disparities among nations and people. Viewed from the Indian context, some studies have stated that the crisis that erupted in the early 1990s was basically an outcome of the deep-rooted inequality in Indian society and the economic reform. Right. Policies initiated as a response to the crisis by the government with externally advised policy package further aggravated the inequalities. Further, it has increased the income and the quality of consumption of only high income groups, and the growth has been concentrated only in some selected area in the services sectors such as telecommunication, information technology, finance, entertainment, travel, hospitality, services, real estate and trade, rather than the vital sectors such as agriculture and industry, which provide livelihood to the millions of people in the country. So this was all about the economic reforms, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, and its assessment. Okay, I think this is sufficient for this topic. You may go through some other books as well and other videos as well for the uh, better understanding of this topic. You might learn something from this video, and I hope you have enjoyed this. Keep watching, and I will appear once again in the new, for the new topic in the new video. Thank you so much.